Page 27, watch your step. This is another lesson on moving the hand. They call it hand shifting. Depends on, I don't know. I guess shifting means to move, so shifting the hand means to move. Shifting to me is more like in violin, when they move from one position to another on violin. The whole hand moves as a unit and goes, that's shifting. And that's sort of what we're doing here. Because a lot of times in piano, where rather than the whole hand moving as a unit, you're spreading out and crawling around. I don't call that shifting, I just call that moving. But as long as you understand what we're doing here. Now let's look this over and see what we're getting into. It's 4 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature, so we're in the key of C major. Make sure you can do the C major scale. We do have accidentals, so we can deal with those. 6/8 time, so we're back to counting to 6. There's 6 beats in a measure, and an 8th note gets a count. There's not a lot of 8th notes in here. I see a lot of dotted quarter notes, and they're going to get 3 counts because there's 3 dotted quarter notes to an 8th note. And dotted half note gets 6 counts. It's the whole measure. And we can't have any note longer than a dotted half note. If they do, they have to tie them together. Let's check it one hand at a time, make sure we understand what's going on here. Starting out with 3rd finger here. And the only time you need finger numbers now is when you're going to change hand positions. You don't need these other finger numbers for a while. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using the same finger. And then to the 4th finger, it's doing both. It's doing both. And you want to get to where you can actually feel this without looking at the keyboard. You know where that black key is. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, get the idea? Okay. Let's go to the 2nd line, last 2 measures. We're here. So the dotted half note gets 6 counts, the quarter note gets 2, so you're going to hold that down for 8 counts. Oh, goody. And then going on, they want 4th finger on it. So you just move up 1, and the 4th finger. We're going from this position to this position. This is the same thing I talked about in the last lesson. When we went down, now we're going up. And again, eventually you want to get to where you can feel this without looking at the keyboard. You can go up or down 1 key on the keyboard without having to look. You can feel 1 key. But we're taking advantage of the repeated note to change hand positions. And the reason we need to is because we have an A in the 3rd line. We need to be there. Just okay. Now you get to the end of the 3rd line, you're here. 2, 3. Now, the last line, they want you back down here again, back down in your original position. And that's because we have a C coming up and we're out of position for it. We got to come down here. Here, it's not a repeated note. We're going from the last note in the 3rd line to the 1st note in the last line. They want 5th finger here. I'm going to suggest let's just stay with the repeated note thing for now. And that means in the last line, I'm going to play that 1st G with 4th finger. I'm staying where I am. And then I'm going to change on the 2nd G. Here, I'm going to go from here to here. Now, there are different fingering styles, different ways of moving the hands around. This isn't a matter of right and wrong. It's just a matter of different ways of doing it. The book is teaching you 2 different ways of doing this. And one way, you're changing on a repeated note. And another way, you're scrunching up a little bit. Because I just scrunch up a little bit and put the little finger on it. Here. Sometimes we do this. There's 2 different things. But for this lesson, I just want to concentrate on repeated note, changing on repeated notes. So I'm going to do the same thing in the last line. I'm going to change on the repeated note. So the 1st G is going to be with 4, and then I'm going to do a 5. Here. Now, in certain places in here, it's like happens in, I don't know, happens over and over. Look at the first 2 measures. You have an F sharp and then an F natural. You don't need the natural sign, is my point. I want you to understand the rules. The sharp in the first measure is only good for the first measure. It doesn't apply to the 2nd measure. So the F in the 2nd measure is natural anyway. The natural sign they're giving you is called a courtesy sign. They're being nice to you. They're being clear. They're saying, make sure you play an F natural here. They don't have to. But it could be that, well, maybe you think they made a mistake and it should be an F sharp, huh? But they're being clear. If you're into writing your own music or arranging your own music, if there's a chance the viewer may misinterpret what you're saying, or they may think you made a mistake, whatever, put in a courtesy sign. Don't do it all the time, just whenever it's absolutely needed. But just so you know, the natural signs in this piece are not needed. They're just extra. Now the left hand, let's see what it's doing. Well, you're down here. The left hand isn't moving, so you don't need any other finger numbers in the left hand. Read the notes, not the numbers. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Isn't this fun? The last two measures, just a C and an E together. Just lowering the hand down each time. Let the wrist collapse a little bit. Don't stiffen up and play with a stiff wrist. Stay relaxed. Put the hands together. You're here. And then here. And then here. Okay. Second line, last measure of the second line. You're here. At both hands, because the left hand is resting, both hands come up. Okay, just you do it. You put the hands together at your speed, not mine, and then get rid of any hesitations. This is sort of a march. A lot of marches are written in 6/8 time. You think that they're playing triplets or something, but no, the march is actually written in 6 because it's a feel. It's a 2 feel. Left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Those are the natural accents. It just feels that way, and that's what they're doing here. As far as the expression goes, or the articulation, if you can figure out the phrases, put them in. Lift up. It looks like you're lifting up here in the last measure. Here, that's a new phrase. It could be. And then at the end of the second line, you could lift up at the end of the third line here. You decide where you think the musical sentences are, the musical thoughts, and you simply lift up in the right hand. The left hand, connect it all the way through, except for the rest, of course. So at the end of the third line, when I'm here, and if I lift up in the right hand to go on, here, I'm keeping that down. I'm connecting this. So it's... Then the dynamics, mezzo forte, sort of loud, moderately loud, whatever you think that... Not loud, just sort of loud. The left hand's in the background. Just keep... I don't know how soft or loud the left hand is. Just keep it in the background. It's not a set value. Then in the third line, we go up to loud. Now, in my opinion, the F belongs at the end of the second line. This part should be loud. So I'm going to move the F to the end of the second line on the here. This part, that's loud. I don't want this and then suddenly be loud. It's, I want the pickup to it, which is... It's like a pickup to it. Ba-da-da-dum. I want it to be loud, too. And the last line, come back down. And the last two measures, as I'm playing this, I want to hear that. Don't drown it out. Yeah, it's my impression of the dynamics. The speed, tempo di marcia, is march time. Now, left, right, left. On a metronome, that's about 120, about 2 beats per second. One, right, left, right. It's up to you. I changed the phrasing a little bit because I felt it different. Play it as you feel it. Don't copy me though. You do your thing. It's part of using a metronome. I haven't taught how to use a metronome. Maybe I need to give a video on it or not. Maybe you can find videos on how to use a metronome. There are different ways of using it. It's not just a matter of turning it on and trying to follow it. But when it comes to using a metronome, when you get to the extremes of the speed, either really, really fast or really, really slow, it's very difficult to follow a metronome. When it's going like boom, 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 that's hard to follow that. Or if it's going like boom, boom, but my booms or clicks, whatever, that's hard to follow that. It's too slow. So what we do is we adjust it just a little bit so we can bring the speed of the metronome a little more toward the middle to make it easier to follow. So what you can do is you just change the metronome to a different value. It may not be showing the beat. It might be showing something else. And you have to adjust to the beat. In this piece, the 6/8 time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's too fast for a metronome to follow. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. No, forget that. But if I do it like a measure at a time, that's too slow. 1, 2. So what I've done is I've changed it to the natural accents. We feel 2 natural accents here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and I've changed this so the beat is to the natural accents. So it's more like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that's too slow to march to. Left, right. But for the purpose of this play with me, we'll try it at that speed. So it's beating dotted quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, every 3 beats. Now there's a danger to that, and that is you'll start thinking triplet. Triplet, 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 and these are not triplets. You got to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each of those is a beat. Let's play it together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the dynamics, the loud and softs. I'm going to do it all about the same, very slowly. So I'm going to give us 4 metronome beats here. That's actually 12 counts. Well, you'll figure it out. Here. Just come in when I do. Huh? 1, 2, ready, go, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.